The story of the creation of the world as told in the book of Genesis has fascinated believers and scholars for centuries. This powerful narrative not only describes the birth of the universe but also serves as a cornerstone for understanding humanity's relationship with God and the world around us. In this video, we will explore each step of the creation, uncovering its deeper meanings and the lessons it continues to offer today. From the creation of light to the formation of humanity in God's image, we will dive into the mysteries of Genesis and examine how these ancient words still resonate with us. In the vast expanse of nothingness, before the universe as we know it existed, there was only darkness, a void. The earth was formless, empty, and shrouded in deep darkness. It was into this emptiness that God spoke, and with that word, creation began. The book of Genesis opens with these profound words, "In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth." And so begins the remarkable process of transforming chaos into a perfectly ordered and harmonious universe. God's first act of creation is to bring forth light, saying, "Let there be light." Instantly, light appears, piercing through the darkness, marking the very first distinction, light from dark, day from night. The light that God creates is not only the light that allows us to see but also represents the emergence of divine wisdom, the illumination of truth, and understanding from the void. This division between light and darkness is a profound moment, setting the tone for all that will follow. With the creation of light comes the birth of time itself, as day and night are established, introducing the rhythm and flow that will govern all life on earth. With light now shining, the universe begins to take shape, but the process is far from complete. God's work is just beginning, and the next step is to bring structure and order to the waters. On the second day, God separates the waters, creating an expanse between them, which he calls the sky. The sky, or firmament, becomes the boundary between the waters above and the waters below. This act of separation, like the creation of light, is an act of bringing order to chaos. The heavens, formed by the expanse, are elevated, symbolizing the majesty and mystery of the divine, while the waters below remain, covering the earth. The sky that God creates is not merely an atmospheric space but also carries profound symbolic meaning. It represents the boundary between the physical and spiritual realms, the place where the divine touches the natural world. The heavens are a reminder of God's transcendence, of the vastness of his creation, and of the fact that while we live on earth, the heavens are a space of divine mystery beyond our reach. The separation of the waters and the creation of the sky provide the framework for the world that is coming into being, a world that will soon be filled with life. With the heavens established above, God now turns his attention to the earth below. On the third day, he commands the waters under the sky to gather in one place so that dry land can appear. The gathering of the waters forms the seas, and the dry ground that emerges is called earth. This dry land is the foundation for everything that will follow. It is the platform upon which all life will exist. The earth, once covered by formless waters, now has shape and structure. It is solid, reliable, and ready to support the life that God will soon bring into existence. But the creation of land is not the only event of the third day. God also commands the earth to bring forth vegetation, plants, trees, and all kinds of greenery. The land, now fertile and rich, responds to God's command, producing a vast array of plant life. Trees and plants of every kind spring forth, each bearing seeds that will allow them to reproduce and continue the cycle of life. This introduction of vegetation is significant, as it is the first appearance of life in the creation narrative. The plants and trees are not only essential for the physical sustenance of the creatures that will soon be created but also symbolize the themes of growth, renewal, and abundance. The earth is not only capable of sustaining life but also of continually regenerating it, ensuring that life will flourish and grow. The creation of plants and trees is an act of provision, showing that from the very beginning, God is a provider who ensures that his creation will have everything it needs to thrive. The plants bear seeds, which is a powerful symbol of the potential for future growth. These seeds represent the continuation of life, the promise that creation will not stagnate but will continue to renew itself. The land, once barren and lifeless, is now filled with greenery, a testament to God's abundant provision. As we reflect on these first 3 days of creation, we see that each act of creation builds upon the last. The creation of light brings time into existence, marking the passage of day and night. The separation of the waters and the creation of the sky provide the space necessary for life to flourish, and the formation of dry land and vegetation creates the foundation for the life that is to come. Each element of creation is interdependent, and together they form a harmonious and balanced universe. This harmony and balance are central to the creation narrative, as God is not just creating a world but creating a world that is perfectly ordered and capable of sustaining life. These early stages of creation reveal much about the nature of God as a creator. He is not creating haphazardly or randomly, rather, his actions are deliberate, measured, and purposeful. Each step in the process is carefully planned, with every element of creation serving a specific purpose in the grand design. Light is necessary to define time, the sky is necessary to create space, and the land is necessary to support life. This order and structure are not only physical but also carry deep spiritual meaning. The light that God creates represents divine wisdom and truth, the sky represents the boundary between the divine and the earthly, and the land represents the foundation upon which life will be built. The theme of separation is also key to understanding these early stages of creation. God separates light from darkness, the sky from the waters, and the land from the sea. But this separation is not a division that creates conflict or chaos, rather, it is a process of bringing order to the universe. By separating these elements, God creates the conditions necessary for life to exist and flourish. Light and darkness establish the rhythm of time, the sky and waters create the space for life to develop, and the land provides the resources needed for survival. In this way, separation becomes a means of creating harmony, as each element is given its rightful place in the grand design. The creation of vegetation also introduces the idea of sustenance and abundance. The plants and trees that cover the earth are not just static creations, they are living, growing, and reproducing. They represent the cycle of life, a continuous process of growth and renewal that will sustain all of creation. This cycle of life is central to the creation narrative, as it reflects the ongoing nature of God's work. Creation is not a one-time event but a process that continues to unfold, with each element of creation contributing to the ongoing cycle of life. As the days progress, God will continue to fill the world with life, but everything begins here, with light, with the sky, with land and vegetation. These early acts of creation are the foundation of everything that will come later. The light brings understanding and order, the sky creates the space for life to flourish, and the land provides the foundation for all living things. Together, they create a world that is not only functional but also filled with meaning, purpose, and beauty. The creation of the world is an act of both physical and spiritual significance, as each element of creation reflects the wisdom and intention of its creator. In the coming days, God will fill this ordered world with the creatures of the sea, the birds of the sky, and the animals of the land. But everything that happens in the days to come is built upon the foundation laid in these first 3 days. The universe is now ready to receive life, and the stage is set for the final and most significant act of creation, humanity, made in the image of God. But before that, God will complete the cosmic structure by filling the sky, sea, and land with the diversity of life that will reflect His creativity and wisdom. As the story of creation progresses, God continues to bring life and order to the universe He has carefully prepared. With the foundational elements of light, sky, land, and vegetation now in place, God's next acts will fill the world with the living beings that will populate the skies, seas, and land. On the 4th day, God turns His attention to the heavens. He creates the sun, moon, and stars, placing them in the sky to govern the day and the night, and to serve as signs for seasons, days, and years. The sun is given the role of ruling over the day, providing the light and warmth necessary for life to thrive on earth. The moon, in contrast, is placed in the night sky to reflect the light of the sun and provide a softer, gentler illumination during the darkness. The stars, scattered across the vastness of the heavens, serve as markers of time and navigation. Together, these celestial bodies establish the order of time, setting the rhythm of days, months, and seasons that will guide all life on Earth. The creation of the sun, moon, and stars is not just about providing light and marking time. These celestial bodies have long been seen as symbols of divine power and cosmic order. The sun, with its blinding light and life-giving warmth, has often been associated with the presence of God, representing his power and constancy. The moon, with its cycles of waxing and waning, has been seen as a symbol of change and renewal, reflecting the rhythms of life and the passage of time. The stars, scattered across the night sky, evoke a sense of wonder and awe, reminding us of the vastness of the universe and the infinite wisdom of the Creator. As the sun rises and sets, and the moon takes its place in the night sky, the stage is set for the next acts of creation. On the fifth day, God fills the seas and the skies with life. He creates the creatures of the sea, fish, whales, and all manner of sea life, filling the oceans with an abundance of living beings. At the same time, he creates the birds of the air, giving them the ability to soar through the sky, filling the heavens with the beauty and grace of flight. The seas, once vast and empty, are now teeming with life, and the skies, once silent, are filled with the songs and movements of birds. The creation of sea creatures and birds introduces the first mobile life forms into the world. These creatures are not only diverse in form and function, but they are also given the ability to multiply and fill the earth. God blesses them, saying, "Be fruitful and multiply, and fill the waters and the seas, and let the birds multiply on the earth." This blessing of multiplication signifies the abundance and generosity of God's creation. Life is not static, it is dynamic, constantly growing, multiplying, and spreading across the earth. The sea creatures and birds, with their ability to move freely through their respective realms, reflect the boundless creativity of God. The oceans are now alive with creatures of all shapes and sizes, from the smallest fish to the largest whales, each uniquely designed to thrive in its environment. The skies, too, are filled with birds of every kind, their wings carrying them effortlessly through the air. This diversity of life serves as a testament to God's limitless imagination and his desire for creation to be filled with life in all its forms. But God's work is not yet finished. On the sixth day, he turns his attention to the land, creating the animals that will roam the earth. God brings forth livestock, wild animals, and all the creatures that move along the ground. The land, which was once bare and empty, now teems with life as animals of every kind emerge. These creatures, like the sea creatures and birds, are given the ability to multiply and fill the earth. They are perfectly adapted to their environments, each species uniquely equipped to thrive in the world God has created. The diversity of land animals mirrors the diversity of the sea and sky. From the smallest insects to the largest mammals, each creature plays a role in the balance of creation. The animals are not only essential for the functioning of the ecosystem, but they also reflect the variety and richness of God's creation. The earth is now a vibrant, living world, filled with creatures of all kinds, each contributing to the beauty and complexity of life. As the animals move across the land, and the birds fill the skies, and the seas teem with life, the world is now ready for its final and most significant act of creation, humanity. But before humanity is created, God observes all that he has made, and he declares it good. The earth is now a fully functioning, harmonious world, where every element of creation, light, sky, sea, land, plants, animals, and celestial bodies, works together to create a balanced and thriving ecosystem. The sixth day of creation is not just about the creation of animals, it is about the completion of the world. Every part of creation is interconnected, and every element plays a role in the overall balance of life. The animals that roam the earth are sustained by the plants that grow from the soil, the birds that soar through the sky rely on the winds and the seas, and the celestial bodies that govern the heavens ensure that time flows in a steady, predictable rhythm. This interconnectedness is a reflection of the order and harmony that God has instilled in the universe. Everything has its place, and everything works together in perfect balance. With the creation of animals, the earth is now teeming with life. From the depths of the seas to the highest reaches of the sky, every corner of the world is filled with living creatures. But there is still one more creation to come, one that will bring together all the elements of the natural world and reflect the image of the Creator himself. The creation of humanity is the final and most important act of creation, for it is through humanity that the divine purpose of the universe will be fulfilled. As the sixth day draws to a close, the earth is ready. It is a world that is alive with the beauty and diversity of life, a world that reflects the creativity, wisdom, and love of its Creator. Every part of creation is complete, and yet the story of creation is not over. The next chapter will introduce humanity, the crown of creation, who will be given the responsibility to steward this vibrant and thriving world. As the world continues to take shape, it becomes clear that the creation story is more than just a narrative about the physical world. Each day of creation holds profound symbolic significance, revealing deeper spiritual truths about the nature of God, the universe, and the relationship between them. The days of creation are often interpreted as much more than a sequence of events. They are a meditation on divine order, purpose, and the intricate balance that sustains all life. One of the most striking aspects of the creation narrative is the emphasis on separation. Throughout the first few days, God repeatedly divides one element from another, light from darkness, waters above from waters below, and land from sea. This act of separation is not merely about physical boundaries, it speaks to the broader theme of bringing order to chaos. In a world that begins as formless and void, God's creative power is demonstrated through his ability to impose structure, balance, and meaning onto what was previously shapeless. The process of separating and organizing elements is a reflection of divine wisdom, as God brings everything into its rightful place within the cosmos. The separation of light from darkness on the first day is a foundational moment, not just because it introduces the concept of time through the establishment of day and night, but because it symbolizes the beginning of knowledge, truth, and spiritual clarity. In many religious traditions, light is associated with wisdom, insight, and the presence of the divine. Darkness, on the other hand, often represents ignorance, confusion, or the absence of God. The creation of light, therefore, is not only a physical act but a symbolic one, representing the moment when divine truth enters the world and illuminates all that follows. The separation of the waters on the second day introduces the theme of boundaries. By dividing the waters above from the waters below, God creates the heavens, a space that is often seen as a symbol of the divine realm, the seat of God's power, and a reminder of his transcendence. The sky, which forms the boundary between the earthly and the heavenly, represents the space where the human and the divine meet. It is through the heavens that God's blessings flow to the earth, and it is also where the divine mysteries remain hidden, beyond human understanding. The sky serves as both a physical and spiritual boundary, reminding us that while we live in the physical world, we are always connected to the divine through the heavens above. The land that emerges from the waters on the third day symbolizes stability and foundation. In many cultures, land is associated with security, permanence, and the potential for growth. The earth, once covered by the chaotic waters, now provides a firm foundation upon which life can flourish. But the creation of land is not just about the formation of the physical world, it is also a metaphor for spiritual grounding. Just as the land provides a stable base for plants to grow, so too does the spiritual life require a foundation of faith and understanding in order to thrive. The land is a place where life takes root, where seeds are planted, and where growth and abundance can occur. The plants and trees that cover the earth are not just forms of physical sustenance, they are also symbols of spiritual nourishment. The fact that every plant bears seeds that will allow it to reproduce suggests the idea of continuity and renewal. Life, once created, is designed to sustain itself and to perpetuate the cycle of growth and regeneration. This reflects the ongoing nature of God's creative work. Creation is not a one-time event but a continuous process that unfolds over time. The plants and trees represent the potential for spiritual growth and the promise of new life, both in the physical and spiritual senses. The sun, moon, and stars, created on the fourth day, carry significant symbolic meaning as well. The sun, with its blinding light and life-giving warmth, has often been associated with the presence of God, representing his power, constancy, and ability to sustain life. The moon, with its phases of waxing and waning, reflects the cycles of life, growth, and change. It is a reminder that while life may go through periods of darkness, light will always return. The stars, scattered across the night sky, evoke a sense of wonder and awe. They represent the vastness of the universe and the infinite wisdom of the Creator. The celestial bodies serve not only to govern time but also to remind us of the divine order that permeates all of creation. The creation of animals on the fifth and sixth days introduces the concept of diversity and interconnectedness. The sea creatures, birds, and land animals that God creates are not just individual beings, they are part of a larger ecosystem, each playing a role in the balance of life. This diversity of life reflects the richness of God's creation and his desire for the world to be filled with abundance. The interconnectedness of all living things is a reminder that no part of creation exists in isolation. Every creature depends on others, and together they form a harmonious whole. This harmony and balance are central themes in the creation narrative. God's work is not random or chaotic, it is deliberate and purposeful. Every element of creation has a role to play in the overall structure of the universe, and everything works together to create a balanced and thriving world. The animals, plants, and celestial bodies are all interconnected, and their interactions ensure the continuation of life. This balance is a reflection of the divine order that underlies all of creation, an order that is both physical and spiritual. The symbolism of the days of creation also extends to the concept of time itself. By establishing day and night, seasons, and cycles, God creates the framework within which life will unfold. Time is not just a series of moments passing by, it is a structure that gives meaning to life. The rhythm of the days and seasons reflects the rhythm of life, with its cycles of birth, growth, death, and renewal. This cyclical nature of time is a reminder that life is constantly evolving, and that creation is an ongoing process. As we reflect on the symbolic meaning of the days of creation, it becomes clear that the story of Genesis is about more than just the physical formation of the world. It is a meditation on the nature of God, the order of the universe, and the role of humanity within that order. The separations that God makes, between light and darkness, heaven and earth, land and sea, are not just physical divisions, they are also spiritual distinctions that reveal the underlying structure of creation. The balance and harmony that God establishes in the physical world are reflections of the divine order that governs all things. The creation story invites us to see the world not just as a collection of physical elements but as a reflection of deeper spiritual truths. Every aspect of creation, from the light of the sun to the seeds of the earth, carries with it a message about the nature of life, growth, and the relationship between the Creator and His creation. The physical world is a manifestation of the spiritual world, and the order that God brings to the universe is a reflection of His wisdom and love. As we continue to explore the story of creation, we are reminded that this is not just a story about the past. It is a story about the present and the future, a story about how we live in the world, how we understand our place in it, and how we are called to participate in the ongoing work of creation. The days of creation are not just a sequence of events, they are a guide to understanding the world as a place of balance, harmony, and purpose, where everything has its place, and everything is connected. As the creation story unfolds, it becomes clear that its themes of order, balance, and purpose resonate far beyond the literal account of the world's formation. The story of creation, as told in Genesis, has been interpreted in numerous ways across different religious traditions. Each faith tradition brings its own perspective to the text, seeking to understand the deeper meaning of these foundational events and their implications for humanity's relationship with God, the universe, and each other. In Judaism, the creation story is seen as a foundational narrative that establishes the relationship between God and His people. The act of creation is viewed not merely as a historical event but as an ongoing process in which God continues to sustain the world. The 6 days of creation, followed by the 7th day of rest, form the basis for the Jewish understanding of time, particularly the observance of the Sabbath. The Sabbath, or Shabbat, is a day of rest that mirrors God's own rest after creating the world. This day is not just about physical rest but also about spiritual reflection and reconnection with the divine. It is a reminder that creation is a partnership between God and humanity, where humans are called to rest and reflect on their role as stewards of the earth. In Jewish mysticism, particularly in the Kabbalah, the creation narrative is also understood on a more symbolic level. The Kabbalists see the act of creation as an expression of divine emanation, where the world is not separate from God but rather a manifestation of His presence. Each stage of creation represents a different aspect of God's nature being revealed in the physical world. The creation of light, for example, is seen as the introduction of divine wisdom, while the separation of the waters represents the division between the spiritual and material realms. This mystical interpretation highlights the idea that the physical world is infused with spiritual significance and that everything in creation reflects a deeper, divine truth. In Christianity, the Genesis creation story is often understood through the lens of redemption. For Christians, the act of creation is closely linked to the concept of salvation. The creation of the world sets the stage for the coming of Christ, who is seen as the fulfillment of God's plan for humanity. In the Gospel of John, Jesus is described as the Word through whom all things were made, echoing the opening words of Genesis, "In the beginning." This connection between creation and redemption emphasizes that God's plan for the world did not end with creation, rather, it continues through Christ's work of salvation. The symbolism of light in the creation story is particularly important in Christian theology. Jesus is often referred to as the light of the world, and this imagery is rooted in the creation of light on the first day. Just as God brought light into the darkness at the beginning of time, Jesus is seen as bringing spiritual light into a world darkened by sin. The separation of light from darkness in Genesis, therefore, takes on a deeper meaning, representing the triumph of good over evil and the hope of redemption through Christ. In the Christian tradition, the creation of humanity on the 6th day is also viewed as significant because it establishes the idea that humans are made in the image of God. This concept of Imago Dei, or the image of God, is central to Christian ethics and theology. It suggests that every person has inherent dignity and worth, and that humans have a special role in creation as stewards of the earth. This responsibility to care for the world is seen as a reflection of God's care for creation. As stewards, humans are called to protect the environment, to promote justice, and to live in harmony with each other and with the natural world. In Islam, the creation story is also central to understanding the relationship between God and humanity. While the Quran has its own account of creation, the themes of divine order, purpose, and human responsibility are similar to those found in Genesis. In Islam, God, Allah, is understood as the creator and sustainer of the universe, and everything in creation is seen as a sign of His power and wisdom. The natural world is often referred to as a sign, ayah, that points to the greatness of God, and humans are called to reflect on these signs as a way of deepening their faith. In Islamic thought, the idea of humanity's role as a steward of the earth is also emphasized. Humans are seen as caretakers of the world, entrusted by God with the responsibility to maintain the balance and harmony of creation. This concept of stewardship, khilafah, is similar to the idea found in both Judaism and Christianity that humans have a special role in caring for the environment. In Islam, this responsibility is not only a matter of ethics but also a form of worship, as caring for the earth is seen as an act of obedience to God's will. Beyond the Abrahamic faiths, other religious traditions have also found meaning in the themes of creation. In Hinduism, for example, the concept of creation is understood through the idea of cycles of creation and destruction. The universe is seen as going through endless cycles of birth, growth, decay, and rebirth, with each cycle governed by the gods. While this differs from the linear narrative of creation in Genesis, the underlying idea of divine order and purpose is similar. In Hindu thought, the physical world is an expression of the divine, and humans are called to live in harmony with the cosmos, recognizing the interconnectedness of all life. Buddhism, while not traditionally focused on creation myths, also emphasizes the importance of balance and harmony in the natural world. In Buddhist teachings, the physical world is seen as impermanent, constantly changing, and subject to the laws of cause and effect, karma. While creation is not viewed as a single event in Buddhism, the idea that humans are part of a larger, interconnected web of life is central to Buddhist ethics. The emphasis on compassion, non-harming, ahimsa, and respect for all living beings reflects a deep awareness of the interdependence of all life. The creation story in Genesis, therefore, is not just a story about the beginning of the world, it is a story that has inspired countless interpretations and reflections across different religious and philosophical traditions. Each tradition brings its own perspective, but the core themes of divine order, purpose, and human responsibility remain central. Whether seen as a literal account of the world's formation or as a symbolic meditation on the nature of existence, the story of creation invites us to reflect on our place in the universe and our relationship with the Creator. The idea that humans are made in the image of God, and that we have a special role in caring for the earth, is a common thread that runs through many religious traditions. This responsibility to care for the world is not just about protecting the environment, it is about living in harmony with the natural order, recognizing the sacredness of creation, and fulfilling our role as stewards of the earth. The creation story reminds us that we are not separate from the world, but deeply connected to it, and that our actions have consequences not only for ourselves but for all of creation. As we continue to reflect on the creation story in Genesis, it's clear that this ancient text has inspired not only religious and spiritual interpretations but also discussions about the relationship between science and faith. For centuries, believers, scholars, and scientists have explored how the biblical account of creation can coexist with modern scientific discoveries. While some see these as conflicting narratives, others view them as complementary, each offering insights into the nature of the universe and the role of humanity within it. The rise of modern science, particularly the development of theories such as the Big Bang and evolution, has led many to question how the Genesis creation story fits into our understanding of the cosmos. The Big Bang theory, which suggests that the universe began as a singularity that expanded over billions of years, offers a very different timeline from the 6 days of creation described in Genesis. However, for many believers, the idea that the universe has a definite beginning aligns with the biblical assertion that God created the heavens and the earth in the beginning. The idea of a moment of creation, even if described differently, can be seen as evidence of a divine hand guiding the formation of the universe. In this context, some theologians and scientists have adopted a perspective known as theistic evolution, which reconciles the biblical creation story with scientific explanations for the origins of life. According to this view, God used natural processes such as evolution to bring about the diversity of life on Earth. This approach allows for a deeper appreciation of both the scientific and spiritual dimensions of the universe. From this perspective, science reveals the how of creation, how the universe formed, how life evolved, while faith addresses the why the universe exists, why life has purpose, and why humans are called to care for creation. For those who hold to theistic evolution, the Genesis account is not a literal step-by-step description of how the universe came to be but rather a poetic and symbolic narrative that conveys deeper truths about the nature of God and creation. The 6 days of creation can be seen as metaphorical, representing phases or epochs in the unfolding of the universe. This interpretation allows believers to engage with modern science without feeling that it undermines their faith. In fact, many find that scientific discoveries about the age of the universe, the complexity of life, and the interconnectedness of all living things deepen their sense of awe and wonder at the Creator's work. On the other hand, there are those who interpret the Genesis creation story more literally and view scientific theories such as evolution with skepticism. These believers, often referred to as creationists, hold that the world was created in 6 literal days, as described in Genesis, and that all forms of life were created directly by God, without the need for evolutionary processes. For creationists, the idea that humans evolved from simpler life forms over millions of years is incompatible with the belief that humans were created in the image of God, as described on the 6th day of creation. This tension between science and faith has led to heated debates, particularly in educational and religious communities. In some parts of the world, these debates have centered around whether or not to teach evolution in schools. Some argue that presenting only the scientific view of creation excludes important religious perspectives, while others maintain that scientific education should be based on evidence and empirical research. Despite these disagreements, the discussion itself highlights the ongoing effort to understand the relationship between faith and reason, and how both can contribute to a fuller understanding of the world. Interestingly, many scientists who are also people of faith see no contradiction between their scientific work and their religious beliefs. For them, studying the natural world is a way of understanding God's creation more deeply. The laws of physics, the complexity of biology, and the vastness of the cosmos are all seen as expressions of the Creator's wisdom and power. Far from undermining faith, scientific exploration enhances their appreciation for the intricacies of the universe and the genius of its design. One of the key areas where science and faith converge is in the recognition of the order and complexity of the universe. Whether viewed through the lens of scripture or science, the world appears to be finely tuned, with every element, from the smallest atom to the largest galaxy, interconnected and functioning within a delicate balance. This sense of order and purpose resonates deeply with the creation story in Genesis, where God brings order out of chaos, separating light from darkness, land from sea, and creating a world that is good, harmonious, and capable of sustaining life. From a scientific perspective, the fine-tuning of the universe is often referred to as the anthropic principle, which suggests that the conditions of the universe are precisely set to allow for the existence of life. The laws of physics, the constants of nature, and the structure of the cosmos all seem to be aligned in such a way that life, particularly human life, can flourish. For many believers, this fine-tuning is seen as evidence of a creator who designed the universe with purpose and intention. The intricate details of the natural world, from the complexity of DNA to the vastness of the galaxies, are viewed as a testament to God's creative power. At the same time, science and faith can sometimes diverge in their approaches to understanding the world. Science, by its nature, seeks to explain the mechanisms of the natural world, how things work, how life evolves, how stars are formed. Faith, on the other hand, seeks to answer questions of meaning and purpose, why we exist, what our relationship is to the Creator, and what our responsibilities are as stewards of creation. While science focuses on the observable and measurable aspects of the universe, faith engages with the spiritual and transcendent dimensions of existence. Both perspectives offer valuable insights, and together they provide a more comprehensive view of the world and our place in it. The dialogue between science and faith is not about choosing one over the other, but about finding ways to integrate both perspectives into a unified understanding of creation. As we continue to make new scientific discoveries, we are also continually reinterpreting ancient texts like Genesis, finding new layers of meaning that speak to our modern context. The creation story in Genesis may not offer a detailed scientific explanation of the origins of the universe, but it provides a framework for understanding the deeper purpose behind creation, one that resonates with the human longing for connection, meaning, and purpose. The interaction between science and faith invites us to approach the world with a sense of wonder and humility. The more we learn about the universe, the more we realize how vast, complex, and mysterious it truly is. Whether we explore the origins of life through biology or reflect on the divine nature of creation through Scripture, we are constantly reminded of the beauty and intricacy of the world around us. In this sense, science and faith are not at odds, they are partners in the search for truth. Ultimately, the Genesis creation story and modern scientific theories offer different but complementary ways of understanding the universe. Both approaches challenge us to think deeply about our place in the world, our relationship with the Creator, and our responsibilities as stewards of the earth. Whether we view the world through the lens of faith, science, or both, the creation story continues to inspire us to explore, to question, and to marvel at the wonder of existence. As we reflect on the creation story in Genesis, its profound impact on human thought, spirituality, and morality becomes evident. The story is not confined to the distant past, nor is it merely a description of how the world began. It speaks to the present, shaping the way we view the world, our role in it, and our relationship with both the Creator and creation itself. This ancient narrative continues to inspire and guide people across the world, reminding us of the deep connection between the divine, the natural world, and humanity. One of the central messages of the creation story is the idea that the world is inherently good. After each day of creation, God looks upon what He has made and declares it good. This recurring affirmation emphasizes the intrinsic value and beauty of the natural world. Creation is not accidental or random, it is purposeful and filled with meaning. This view of the world as good and intentional encourages us to approach life with a sense of gratitude, recognizing that we are part of something far greater than ourselves. It calls us to appreciate the beauty and complexity of the natural world and to see it as a reflection of the Creator's love and care. The creation story also serves as a reminder of the interconnectedness of all things. From the separation of light and darkness to the formation of land, sea, and sky, every element of creation is interdependent. The animals, plants, and humans that populate the earth are all part of a larger, harmonious system where each plays a vital role. This theme of interconnectedness is particularly relevant today, as we become more aware of the delicate balance of the natural world and the need to protect it. Environmental issues such as climate change, deforestation, and pollution have brought renewed attention to the importance of caring for the earth, and the creation story provides a moral and spiritual framework for this responsibility. In Genesis, humans are given a special role in creation. Made in the image of God, humanity is entrusted with the care of the earth and all its creatures. This concept of stewardship is central to the biblical view of creation. It suggests that we are not owners of the earth, but caretakers, responsible for maintaining the balance and harmony that God established. This idea resonates deeply in today's discussions about sustainability and environmental ethics. As stewards of the earth, we are called to protect its resources, to use them wisely, and to ensure that future generations can enjoy the same beauty and abundance that we have inherited. Beyond environmental concerns, the Genesis creation story also speaks to the importance of rest and reflection. After 6 days of creative work, God rests on the seventh day, sanctifying it as a day of rest. This concept of Sabbath rest is a reminder that work is not the sole purpose of life. Rest is not only necessary for physical renewal but also for spiritual reflection and growth. In a world that often prioritizes productivity and efficiency, the creation story invites us to slow down, to pause, and to reconnect with what truly matters. It reminds us that life is about more than work. It is about finding balance, nurturing relationships, and cultivating a sense of peace and contentment. The creation story also touches on the theme of identity. By declaring that humans are made in the image of God, Genesis affirms the inherent dignity and worth of every person. This idea has profound implications for how we view ourselves and others. It suggests that every human being, regardless of race, gender, or background, bears the imprint of the divine and is deserving of respect and care. This belief in the inherent value of all people has been a cornerstone of many social justice movements, influencing the fight for human rights, equality, and dignity. The idea that we are all created in God's image challenges us to treat others with compassion and to work for a world where justice and fairness prevail. In a broader sense, the creation story encourages us to reflect on our place in the universe. It invites us to consider the big questions of existence. Why are we here? What is our purpose? How should we live in relation to the world and to each other? These are questions that have been asked by every generation, and the Genesis narrative offers a framework for exploring them. It suggests that we are not here by chance, but by divine intention, and that our lives have meaning and purpose. We are part of a larger story, one that began long before us and will continue long after us. Understanding our role in this story can provide a sense of direction and fulfillment. Moreover, the creation story offers a vision of hope. Despite the challenges and struggles that we face, the Genesis narrative reminds us that the world is fundamentally good and that God's plan for creation is one of order, beauty, and life. This message of hope is particularly powerful in times of uncertainty or crisis, when it can be easy to feel overwhelmed by the problems of the world. The creation story assures us that, even in the midst of chaos, there is a divine order that sustains the universe, and that we are part of a larger, purposeful design. The continuing relevance of the Genesis creation story lies in its ability to speak to both our spiritual and practical concerns. It addresses the deep existential questions that every human being grapples with, questions about meaning, purpose, and identity, while also providing a moral and ethical framework for living in the world. It calls us to care for the earth, to treat others with dignity, and to find balance between work and rest. It challenges us to live in harmony with creation and to fulfill our role as stewards of the world God has entrusted to us. As we move forward into the future, the lessons of the Genesis creation story will continue to guide and inspire us. In a world that is increasingly connected yet deeply divided, the story of creation reminds us of our shared humanity and our collective responsibility to care for the world we inhabit. It encourages us to look beyond ourselves and to see the bigger picture, to recognize that we are part of a grand, unfolding story that began with the words, "Let there be light," and that continues to this day. The message of Genesis is one of balance, purpose, and connection. It calls us to live thoughtfully and intentionally, to care for the earth and its creatures, to honor the dignity of every person, and to find peace in the rhythms of work and rest. As we reflect on this ancient story, we are reminded that the creation of the world is not just a past event, it is an ongoing process in which we are all invited to participate. Throughout this journey into the Genesis creation story, we have explored the profound wisdom and enduring relevance of each step in the world's formation. From the emergence of light to the creation of humanity, the story reveals a universe filled with purpose, balance, and divine intention. It reminds us of our unique role as caretakers of the earth, as well as the importance of harmony, compassion, and respect for all life. The Genesis narrative continues to inspire us to live thoughtfully, recognizing our place in a larger design. As we look around at the beauty and complexity of the world, we are reminded that this ancient story holds timeless lessons that speak to both our spirit and our responsibilities. If this video has brought you new insights, feel free to like, comment, and share your thoughts below. Don't forget to subscribe for more content that delves into the depth and meaning of our faith and our world. Thank you for joining us, and see you in the next video.